Are you on the verge of a major life change, embarking on a significant project, or committing to a profound personal transformation? Before you consider announcing your ambitious plans to the world, pause and consider this. What if strategic silence is actually your greatest and most powerful ally? In an age characterized by constant sharing and a relentless pursuit of external validation, we often inadvertently dilute our precious focus and invite crippling doubt by prematurely overexposing our deepest ambitions. Today, we will explore the profound, often underestimated power of working diligently in silence, focusing intently inward, and allowing your tangible results to speak far louder and more convincingly than any premature declaration ever could. If you're truly ready to master your unique path without the interference of external noise, this message will reveal exactly how to harness your true inherent power. Indeed, let's imagine this common scenario for a moment. You're on the cusp of embarking on something truly significant, a venture or a personal change that holds the genuine potential to reshape your entire life for the better. But before you even take that crucial foundational first step, you feel an almost irresistible compulsion to announce it to the world, sharing it with your friends, your family, perhaps even casual acquaintances and complete strangers on various social media platforms, and then, almost inevitably, insidious doubts begin to subtly creep into your mind. A veritable flood of unsolicited opinions, often contradictory and confusing, bombards you from all sides, and countless distractions start relentlessly pulling you away from your intended course of action. Suddenly, that vibrant, internal fire of ambition that once burned so brightly and passionately within you starts to flicker, waver, and dim. Why does this unfortunate sequence of events so often happen? It's primarily because when you talk excessively about your plans before they have a chance to materialize, you inadvertently grant others the considerable power to influence and potentially derail your unique path. Conversely, when you learn to focus intensely and unwavering on yourself and your work, and consciously choose to remain silent about your burgeoning ambitions, you wisely keep that formative, creative power exactly where it rightfully belongs, securely with you today. I want to share something with you that I firmly believe can transform the very way you move through life and mindset. A strategic approach that consistently brings tangible results, profound inner peace, and genuine, sustainable success. It's the art of working diligently in silence, of staying laser-focused on your objectives, and of consciously letting your impactful actions, rather than your fleeting words, do all the talking. Because the unvarnished truth is, not everyone truly needs to know what you're painstakingly building. Not everyone genuinely wants to see you win or succeed. And sometimes, perhaps more often than we realize, the loudest person in the room isn't the strongest. The quietest, most observant one often is. So, if you're genuinely ready to shift your mindset, to truly level up your life without the crippling burden of external distractions, then please listen closely, because this message is specifically for you. Let me tell you something of profound importance. There is absolutely no greater or more valuable investment in this entire world than the one you consciously choose to make in yourself. You see, most people, unfortunately, spend the majority of their lives looking perpetually outward. They focus primarily on what others are doing, what others possess, and, most detrimentally, what others think of them. But the very moment you intentionally shift that focus inward, toward your own growth and development, everything in your life begins to change for the better. Because the fundamental truth is, the only person genuinely standing between you and the life you truly desire is ultimately you. That modern life presents. We live in a world where it often feels like everyone is constantly watching, everyone is incessantly talking, and everyone is desperately trying to prove something to someone else. Social media, in many ways, has exacerbated this tendency. People frequently post every minor detail of their lives, often craving external approval, anxiously waiting for likes and comments, and fervently hoping for some form of fleeting validation from others. But let me ask you a sincere question. What does all of that truly accomplish for you in the long run? What does it genuinely change about your core being or your ultimate trajectory? In reality, very little, if anything at all. Because success, real, lasting success, doesn't come from merely being seen or noticed. It comes from authentically becoming the person capable of achieving and sustaining that success. And you don't become something great by constantly seeking attention. You become something great by diligently doing the necessary work in silence, especially when no one is watching. Focusing intently on yourself means prioritizing your personal growth above almost everything else. It means waking up every single day and asking yourself the critical question, what can I specifically do today to be demonstrably better than I was yesterday? Not for external applause, not for fleeting recognition from others, but purely and simply for you. It means consciously feeding your mind with valuable knowledge, consistently strengthening your physical body, diligently sharpening your unique skills and talents, and actively mastering your often turbulent emotions. It means setting clearly defined goals, not just vague dreams that sound good in theory, but actual, measurable, actionable steps toward the specific future you envision and desire. And, perhaps most importantly, it means being disciplined enough to consistently follow through on those steps, even when no one is clapping for you, even when you feel entirely alone in your endeavors. The greatest mistake you can possibly make on your journey is to passively wait for someone else to somehow push you forward or motivate you. Some people will undoubtedly cheer for you, some will inevitably doubt you, and many, quite frankly, won't care at all either way. But ultimately, none of that truly matters in the grand scheme of things, because at the end of the day, no one else is responsible for your success except you. And if you consistently spend your precious time looking left and right, anxiously worried about what everyone else is doing or thinking, you'll never effectively move forward on your own unique path. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking at this point, but what about support? What about encouragement? Don't we all need that? And yes, absolutely, having genuine, supportive people in your corner is an undeniable blessing. But hear me clearly when I say this. If you rely solely on that external support, if you need someone else's constant approval just to keep going, then you are effectively handing over the control of your own life to others. Because the very moment that external support inevitably fades, the moment people stop clapping or offering praise, you'll likely stop moving forward as well. And that, my friends, is the fundamental difference between those who ultimately succeed and those who merely dream of success. The ones who win, the ones who truly make something significant of themselves, are invariably the ones who keep persistently going, even when no one is watching, even when no one believes in them, even when they are standing completely and utterly alone. Focusing on yourself also means diligently protecting your precious energy. It means being incredibly mindful and discerning about what you allow to enter your mind, your heart, and your spirit. Not every conversation is worth your valuable time. Not every perceived battle is worth fighting. Not every external opinion deserves your undivided attention. Because the more time and energy you spend worrying about things that don't genuinely serve your growth or your purpose, the less time and energy you have available for the things that truly do. And if you're constantly pouring your vital energy into gossip, negativity, or fruitless comparison with others, you are effectively draining yourself of the very power you desperately need to succeed. One of the most profoundly powerful things you can ever do in this life is to learn the crucial art of walking away from what no longer serves your highest good. That often means courageously walking away from toxic people, from debilitating bad habits, and from environments that consistently keep you feeling small or stagnant. It means clearly recognizing when something or someone is actively holding you back, and then having the sheer courage to step decisively into something greater, something more aligned with your true potential. And let me be clear, that's not an easy process. Growth is rarely, if ever, easy. It invariably requires sacrifice. It demands unwavering discipline. It necessitates moments of profound discomfort where you might feel utterly alone, where you feel like absolutely no one understands the unique path you're on. But that, my friends, is often the unavoidable price of becoming the remarkable person you were always meant to be. You have to learn to implicitly trust the process. The world today has largely convinced us that everything significant should happen incredibly fast. We crave success overnight, desire results almost immediately, and often expect rewards without putting in the necessary sustained effort. But truly, anything genuinely worth having in life takes time. Meaningful growth takes time. True mastery of any skill takes time. You have to be willing to diligently work in the metaphorical dark, often unseen and unacknowledged, before you can ever hope to brilliantly shine in the light. And if you aren't willing to patiently go through that often arduous process, if you aren't willing to steadfastly stay the course even when it feels incredibly slow or unproductive, then you'll likely never reach your full, God-given potential. Let me tell you something from experience. There will undoubtedly be times when you feel like absolutely nothing is happening, like you're putting in all this tremendous work and seeing absolutely no tangible results. But I promise you, every single step you take, every small, seemingly insignificant effort you make, every disciplined moment you endure, is actively building something valuable and strong within you. Just because you don't see the full picture yet doesn't mean it's not working. Just because no one else is currently noticing your efforts doesn't mean you aren't significantly growing. And that's precisely why you have to stay relentlessly focused. Because one day, all those quiet, unseen hours, all that unacknowledged effort, all those countless moments of unwavering discipline will inevitably add up. And when they do, people will look at you with amazement and perhaps even call you lucky. They'll wonder, how did they possibly do it? But you will know the truth. You will know that it wasn't luck at all. It was unwavering focus. It was consistent sacrifice. And it was consciously choosing, every single day, to invest in yourself, even, and especially, when no one else was watching. So, I ask you directly today, are you truly willing to do that? Are you willing to intentionally turn down the incessant noise of the world, to deliberately shut out the myriad distractions, and to genuinely focus on your own unique journey? Are you willing to stop constantly explaining yourself to people who clearly don't understand, or perhaps don't even support, your vision? Are you willing to stop desperately seeking external validation, and instead start diligently seeking internal mastery? Because if you are, then I promise you, there is absolutely nothing you cannot achieve. Your future is not in the hands of anyone else. It's not determined by the fleeting opinions of others. It's not contingent upon the fickle approval of the crowd. It resides entirely and powerfully within you. And the very moment you fully realize that, the moment you take complete and utter responsibility for your own growth, your own success, and your own ultimate destiny, that is the precise moment when everything in your life will begin to change for the better. Silence. It's one of the most potent and often underutilized tools you possess, yet so many people completely overlook its incredible power. We live in a world that consistently glorifies noise, constant talking, incessant sharing, and a perpetual need for self-proving. But what if I told you that true strength isn't found in how much you say, but rather in how much you don't say? That real, enduring power is discovered not in loud, boastful words, but in quiet, consistent actions. That the most successful, most disciplined, and most focused individuals don't typically waste their precious energy desperately trying to be heard. They wisely let their tangible results speak eloquently for them. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who talks endlessly and enthusiastically about their grand plans, their ambitious goals, and all the amazing things they're supposedly going to do? And yet, years inexplicably go by and absolutely nothing ever changes for them. They talk a big game, but there's consistently no real action or substance behind their words, because talking is easy. Announcing your next big move is effortless. But real work, genuine discipline that predominantly happens in silence. The underlying problem is that we have largely been conditioned by society to believe that we need to announce everything we do. The moment we have a fledgling idea, we often feel an urge to tell the entire world. The moment we start working on something new, we frequently crave immediate recognition. And the moment we achieve even a modicum of success, we often want everyone to see it and applaud. But here's the crucial truth. When you talk too much about what you're doing, especially prematurely, you inadvertently give other people the unwelcome chance to plant insidious seeds of doubt in your mind. You invite unnecessary opinions, myriad distractions, and sometimes even outright envy from those who may not have your best interests at heart. You effectively allow negativity to seep into something that should be carefully protected and nurtured. Because, realistically, not everyone truly wants to see you win. Not everyone will fully understand or appreciate your unique vision, and the more you needlessly speak, the more you significantly risk losing your precious focus. Silence is your distinct advantage. When you learn to move strategically in silence, you become largely unpredictable. No one truly knows your next step. No one has the premature opportunity to discourage you before you even properly begin. No one can effectively interfere with something they don't even know about, and that alone gives you a significant and undeniable power. Have you ever noticed that the loudest people in any given situation are often, in reality, the weakest, the ones who constantly brag, incessantly show off, and perpetually seek attention, are usually the most insecure deep down? Because people who are truly confident, people who are genuinely strong in their own right, don't feel any compelling need to constantly prove anything to anyone. They don't need to be perpetually seen. They don't require constant external validation. They are typically too busy working, too focused on improving, too engaged in winning all in powerful silence. Some of the greatest moments of profound success and personal breakthrough happen when absolutely no one is watching. When you discipline yourself to wake up early to put in those crucial extra hours, when you're diligently studying late at night while everyone else is comfortably asleep, when you're consistently pushing yourself in ways that no one will ever physically see. That's where real, sustainable progress is truly made. That's where champions are painstakingly built, and that's precisely why silence is so incredibly powerful, because it keeps you intensely focused on what genuinely matters, the work itself, not the fleeting recognition that might or might not come from it. And let's be perfectly honest, talking extensively about your plans can sometimes trick your brain into mistakenly thinking you've already accomplished something significant. You get that little temporary rush of excitement or dopamine when you tell someone about your ambitious goals, almost as if you've already achieved them. And that feeling, while momentarily pleasurable, can actually be quite dangerous, because instead of using that precious energy to actually do the necessary work, you inadvertently waste it on mere words. You effectively give yourself the misleading illusion of progress without actually moving forward in any tangible way. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should never share anything with anyone, but you absolutely have to be highly selective and discerning. Not everyone deserves access to your most cherished dreams. Not everyone is meant to know what you're diligently and quietly working on. You have to protect your vision as if it's the most valuable and fragile thing in the world, because in many ways, it truly is. When you keep your most important goals primarily to yourself, you keep them pure. You allow them the necessary space to grow and develop without undue external interference. You allow them to mature in the safety and sanctity of your own discipline and unwavering focus. And then, when the time is perfectly right, when the hard work is finally done, that's when you strategically let the world see your accomplishments, not because you endlessly told them about it, but because your undeniable results made it impossible for them to ignore. You see, when you're consistently silent and focused, people will often underestimate you. They might think you aren't doing much of consequence. They might incorrectly assume you have nothing significant going on. And then, one day, they will inevitably look up and see you winning. They will witness the tangible, impressive results of your quiet, diligent work. And they likely won't have a clue how you did it. And that, my friends, is often the best part. Because while they were busy talking, you were busy building. While they were desperately seeking attention, you were diligently seeking mastery. And while they were merely making noise, you were quietly making significant progress. There is a profound peace that invariably comes with embracing silence, a remarkable clarity that pervasive noise simply cannot provide. When you consciously stop explaining yourself, stop desperately trying to impress others, and stop constantly worrying about what others think, you effectively free yourself. You free yourself from crippling external expectations, from undue pressure, and from a myriad of unnecessary distractions. You become laser-focused on your own unique journey, and absolutely nothing can easily shake you from your chosen path. That's the inherent power of strategically staying silent. That's the profound power of keeping your precious energy consistently directed toward what actually and truly matters. Some people simply won't understand this approach. They will mistakenly equate silence with weakness. They will incorrectly assume you have nothing important to say, but that's primarily because they don't yet understand the immense power of restraint. They don't realize that the strongest person in the room is often the one speaking the absolute least, because that individual isn't foolishly wasting words. They are keenly observing, they are carefully calculating, they are strategically planning, and when they finally do speak, their words invariably carry significant weight. When they finally do move, their actions consistently create a powerful impact. I want you to remember something vitally important. Every single moment you spend talking about what you're going to do is a moment you could have spent actually doing it. Every precious second you waste trying to explain yourself to people who ultimately don't matter is a second you could have used to genuinely get better. And every single ounce of energy you needlessly give to unnecessary noise and drama is energy that is permanently taken away from your own potential success. So, I earnestly challenge you today, be quiet, move in strategic silence. Let your powerful actions speak so loudly and clearly that you never, ever have to say a single word to justify or explain yourself. Distractions, my friends, are absolutely everywhere in our modern world. They come in a multitude of different forms: people, social media, gossip, negativity, unnecessary drama, and so much more. And if you're not incredibly careful and vigilant, they will inevitably consume you. They will relentlessly pull you away from your God-given purpose, effectively drain your vital energy, and ultimately leave you wondering with regret where all your precious time went. That's precisely why, if you genuinely want to grow, if you truly desire to achieve something meaningful and lasting in your life, You absolutely have to learn and master the crucial art of shutting out distractions. You have to fiercely protect your focus as if your very life depends on it because, in many significant ways, it truly does. Every single day you are given the exact same 24 hours as everyone else on this planet. The fundamental difference between those who consistently succeed and those who consistently fall short isn't primarily luck, nor is it necessarily raw talent. More often than not, it's unwavering focus. It's how they consciously choose to spend their irreplaceable time. Some people wake up in the morning and immediately drown themselves in a sea of distractions. They mindlessly scroll through their phones for hours, passively watching other people live their lives instead of actively working on their own. They engage in pointless, energy-draining conversations, often arguing over things that ultimately don't matter, and feeding into drama that has absolutely no tangible benefit to their lives. And before they even realize it, the entire day is gone, and they've accomplished little to nothing of real significance. But then there are those individuals who deeply understand the immense value of their time. They meticulously guard their focus. They strategically eliminate anything and everything that doesn't directly serve their personal or professional growth. And those, invariably, are the people who consistently win in life. You see, distractions don't always initially look like distractions. Sometimes they cleverly come disguised as harmless entertainment. You tell yourself, I'm just going to check one quick thing online, or I'm just going to watch one short video, or I'm just going to respond to this one urgent message. But before you know it, an entire hour has inexplicably passed, then perhaps 2 hours, and for what ultimate purpose? Absolutely nothing that brings you even one step closer to your most important goals. Other times, distractions unfortunately come in the form of people who constantly bring negativity and discouragement into your life. People who incessantly drain you with their endless problems but never seem to work on any viable solutions. People who habitually criticize and doubt you instead of genuinely pushing you forward and encouraging your growth. And if you allow those detrimental voices to take up residence in your mind, they will invariably occupy precious mental space that should have been exclusively reserved for your own unique vision and aspirations. Not everyone deserves unfettered access to your valuable time. Not everyone deserves unrestricted access to your impressionable mind. You absolutely have to be highly selective and discerning about who and what you allow into your personal space, because every single time you give your precious energy to something useless or detrimental, you simultaneously take that energy away from something truly important and constructive. And I don't know about you, but I steadfastly refuse to let pervasive distractions steal my God-given future. I refuse to waste my irreplaceable time on things that do not add genuine value to my life. And if you truly desire to grow, if you sincerely want to become the remarkable person you are destined to be, then you absolutely have to make that same resolute decision. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't want to ignore people. I don't want to be perceived as rude, and I completely understand that sentiment. But let me tell you something crucial. There is a vast difference between being a kind person and being perpetually available to everyone and everything. You can absolutely be a good, compassionate person and still firmly set healthy boundaries. You can genuinely love people and still fiercely protect your focus. You do not owe anyone on this planet unlimited access to your time, your mind, or your energy. If something is not actively helping you grow, if something is consistently pulling you away from your most important goals, then you have every single right to courageously walk away from it. And, in fact, you absolutely should. Some distractions insidiously come in the subtle form of comparison. You start looking at what everyone else is doing, constantly measuring your own progress or perceived lack thereof against theirs, and anxiously wondering why you're not yet where they seemingly are. But listen to me very carefully. Comparison is one of the greatest and most destructive distractions there is. It will relentlessly rob you of your joy, your peace, and your precious focus. Because the very moment you start intently looking at someone else's life, you simultaneously take your eyes off your own. And when you do that, you invariably lose sight of your unique path. You lose crucial momentum, and you often start chasing after something that was never truly meant for you, instead of steadfastly staying on the course that was specifically and divinely designed for you. Your journey is uniquely yours. It will not look exactly like anyone else's. It will not happen at the exact same speed. It will not have the exact same obstacles, the same breakthroughs, or the same precise timeline. And that is perfectly okay, because your only true competition in this life is the person you were yesterday. Your only legitimate focus should be on consistently becoming better than you were before. And the only effective way to do that is to stay completely locked in on your own path, to keep your precious energy resolutely directed toward your own most important goals, and to strategically eliminate anything and everything that tries to pull you off your God-given track. Sometimes, distractions show up internally as persistent self-doubt, that little nagging voice in your head that constantly whispers, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if people judge you? And if you consistently listen to that detrimental voice, it will undoubtedly paralyze you. It will keep you stuck in a state of inaction, perpetually afraid to take meaningful action, deeply afraid to genuinely believe in yourself and your capabilities. But let me tell you something with absolute certainty. Fear is a liar, and self-doubt is just another insidious form of distraction. Because the more time you spend doubting yourself, the less time you spend actively improving yourself. The more time you waste on overthinking and what-ifs, the less time you have to take real, tangible action. And in the end, meaningful action is the only thing that truly matters and produces results. The people who ultimately succeed in life are not the ones who never experience doubt. They are not the ones who never feel fear. They are, however, the ones who steadfastly refuse to let those negative emotions distract them from their purpose. They feel the fear, they hear the doubt, and they courageously keep moving forward anyway. They deeply understand that the only effective way to silence internal doubt is through consistent, decisive action. The only reliable way to overcome paralyzing fear is to do the very thing that scares you the most. And the only genuine way to truly grow is to stay so intensely focused on your God-given mission that nothing, not negativity from others, not fruitless comparison, not even crippling self-doubt can ever pull you away from it. Discipline is the ultimate key. Because let's be perfectly honest, distractions will always be present in our lives. There will always be something or someone trying to pull you off your chosen course. There will always be pervasive noise, alluring temptations, and countless reasons to look away from your most important goals. But when you are truly disciplined, you don't let those external or internal things control you. You consciously take charge of your time. You resolutely take charge of your energy. You decisively take charge of your future. And when you consistently do that, you become virtually unstoppable. So, ask yourself honestly today, what is currently distracting you the most? What is insidiously stealing your precious time? What is consistently pulling you away from your divine purpose? And, more importantly, what are you proactively going to do about it? Because until you consciously choose to eliminate those distractions, until you fiercely protect your focus with everything you have, you will likely never reach your full God-given potential. But the very moment you firmly decide to shut out the detrimental noise, to stop wasting irreplaceable time, and to fully commit to your own personal and professional growth, that is the precise moment when everything in your life will begin to change for the better. Not everything in your life needs to be shared with everyone. Not every fledgling plan, not every ambitious goal, not every cherished dream. Some things are inherently meant to be quietly nurtured in private, patiently built in strategic silence, and revealed to the world only when they are fully formed and undeniably ready. But the unfortunate problem is, too many people today feel an almost irresistible need to announce their every single move. They enthusiastically talk about what they're going to do long before they even actually start doing it. They prematurely share their most intimate plans with people who often don't understand, or perhaps don't even support their unique vision. They desperately seek external validation before they've even proven anything tangible to themselves or to others. And in doing so, they often inadvertently weaken the very thing they are so earnestly trying to build. Let me ask you something for sincere reflection. How many times have you personally witnessed someone talk extensively and passionately about what they're supposedly going to accomplish, only for absolutely nothing to ever actually come of it? They boldly declare, I'm going to start this amazing new business, or I'm finally going to get in incredible shape, or I'm going to completely change my life for the better. But then months, or even years, inexplicably go by, and sadly, nothing has tangibly changed. Why does this happen so frequently? It's often because merely talking about something can give you the misleading illusion of progress. It can subtly trick your mind into feeling like you've already accomplished something significant, when in reality you haven't even taken the first crucial step. And that false, premature sense of accomplishment can effectively kill your genuine motivation. Before you even begin the real work, you simply don't need to tell the entire world what you're diligently working on. You don't need constant external approval. You certainly don't need perpetual applause from others. What you genuinely need is unwavering focus. What you truly need is steadfast discipline. What you absolutely need is the profound ability to commit to something quietly and then courageously let your tangible results do all the talking for you. Because when you learn to strategically move in silence, you effectively eliminate a multitude of potential distractions. You successfully eliminate the often conflicting influence of outside opinions. You powerfully eliminate the pervasive negativity that frequently comes when you share your most important goals too soon or with the wrong people. And most importantly, you diligently protect your precious vision from the often unintentional doubts and fears of others. Not everyone will genuinely support you on your journey. Not everyone will truly believe in your potential. Some people will undoubtedly doubt you. Some people will actively try to discourage you. And some people, let's be perfectly honest, will secretly hope that you fail, not necessarily because they overtly hate you, but often because your personal growth uncomfortably reminds them of their own unfortunate stagnation. Your ambition often makes them feel uneasy. Your consistent progress frequently makes them question their own life choices. And instead of being genuinely inspired by your example, they'd subconsciously rather see you stay exactly where you are, just like them. That's precisely why you have to be incredibly careful and discerning about who you choose to share your most cherished dreams with. Because the wrong person, at the wrong time, can unfortunately plant insidious seeds of doubt in your impressionable mind. And if you're not spiritually and mentally strong enough, those debilitating doubts will inevitably take root and grow, potentially choking your aspirations. When you consciously keep your most important goals primarily to yourself, you give yourself the invaluable space to grow and develop without undue external interference. You afford yourself the precious freedom to perhaps fail in private, to strategically adjust your course, to continuously learn from your mistakes, and to diligently improve without anyone else constantly watching, judging, or criticizing your process. And then, when you do finally succeed, when you ultimately reach the point where your undeniable work speaks volumes for itself, it won't be because you endlessly told people what you were going to do. It will be because you actually, through sheer diligence and perseverance, did it. Think about the people you genuinely admire, the ones who have truly accomplished something remarkable in their lives. How many of them do you typically see constantly talking about their plans before they've actually achieved them? Not many, I would venture to guess. Because the ones who are truly serious, the ones who are genuinely focused and committed, deeply, understand that tangible results always speak infinitely louder than mere words. They don't foolishly waste their precious energy desperately trying to prove themselves to others. They don't waste valuable time attempting to convince others of their untapped potential. They simply, quietly, and consistently do the work. And when the appointed time comes, their remarkable success is undeniably self-evident. Some of you might say, but I genuinely like sharing my journey. I enjoy keeping people updated on my progress, and I can certainly understand that perspective. But I would gently encourage you to ask yourself honestly, are you sharing primarily because it truly helps you in some tangible way? Or are you perhaps sharing more because you're subconsciously seeking external validation? Are you looking for motivation from others instead of diligently cultivating it from within yourself? Because if you consistently need an audience just to stay committed, if you require people to constantly cheer you on simply to keep going, then you are unfortunately relying far too heavily on external validation. And that, my friends, is a very dangerous and precarious position to be in. Because the very moment that external validation inevitably disappears, so too will your motivation. Real, sustainable discipline invariably comes from within. It comes from making a resolute internal decision to commit wholeheartedly to something, whether people are watching or not. It comes from staying remarkably consistent, even when absolutely no one is applauding your efforts. It comes from deeply understanding that true success isn't ultimately about proving yourself to others. It's profoundly about proving yourself to yourself. And that kind of unwavering discipline, that kind of quiet, internal strength, is precisely what separates those who genuinely achieve their goals from those who only ever talk about achieving them. There is immense, often untapped power in strategically moving in silence. There is profound strength in intentionally keeping your victories private until they are absolutely undeniable. There is remarkable wisdom in working so incredibly hard and diligently that when people finally do notice your success, it's not because you endlessly told them about it. It's because they simply cannot ignore what you've painstakingly built. And that kind of quiet, understated power is something you absolutely must learn to protect and cultivate. Some of you are currently sitting on dreams that could literally change your entire life for the better, but you've unfortunately been far too busy telling other people about them instead of actually diligently working on them. Some of you have inadvertently allowed crippling doubt to creep into your minds because you prematurely shared your most precious goals with the wrong, unsupportive people, and now their pervasive negativity has regrettably taken up valuable space in your psyche. Some of you have been foolishly wasting precious energy desperately trying to prove yourselves to others instead of just quietly getting to work. And it's high time for that to change. From this very moment forward, I implore you to choose to move differently. Diligently protect your most important goals. Consciously choose to work in strategic silence. Courageously let your tangible results be the only true announcement you ever need to make. Because when you consistently do that, when you focus solely and intently on the necessary work, when you completely eliminate the often crippling need for external validation, when you implicitly trust the entire process and bravely let your ultimate success speak for itself, that is precisely when you truly become and remain unstoppable. Growth, by its very nature, is often a lonely journey. It's not something that typically happens in the midst of a cheering crowd, and it's certainly not something that usually comes with constant applause at every single step of the way. The unvarnished truth is, when you genuinely start focusing on yourself, when you begin to move with intention and purpose, when you actively start elevating your mind, your habits, and your goals, you will inevitably notice something profound. Some people will naturally begin to distance themselves from you, and that, contrary to what you might initially feel, is not necessarily a bad thing. It's often not personal rejection. Rather, it's a clear sign that you're genuinely evolving and outgrowing your previous circumstances. The higher you choose to climb in life, the thinner the air often gets. Not everyone is meant or equipped to climb with you. Not everyone possesses the same level of discipline, the same growth mindset, or the same degree of patience to grow at the exact same pace as you. And that is perfectly okay. You have to deeply understand that significant self-improvement invariably comes with a price, and part of that unavoidable price is often walking alone for a significant period of time. It's about consciously and courageously letting go of old limiting habits, sometimes even old, comfortable friendships, and often even old versions of yourself that no longer authentically serve your higher purpose. It's about understanding that the things you used to thoroughly enjoy might not excite you in the same way anymore. The conversations you used to eagerly participate in might now feel somewhat empty or superficial, and the environments you used to seemingly thrive in might now feel increasingly suffocating or restrictive. That's precisely what genuine growth often feels like. It's frequently uncomfortable. It can sometimes feel isolating, but it is absolutely necessary for your continued evolution. Far too many people, unfortunately, never reach their full potential simply because they are deeply afraid of being alone. They are terrified of stepping away from the perceived safety of the crowd, of being perceived as different, of standing confidently in their own unique space without constantly needing the validation or approval of others. But let me tell you something with absolute certainty. True greatness is never, ever found in perpetual comfort, and it is certainly never found in an insatiable need to belong or fit in. If you genuinely desire to evolve and grow, you absolutely have to be willing to courageously step away from the familiar. You have to be willing to comfortably sit with yourself, to attentively hear your own innermost thoughts, to honestly face your own perceived weaknesses, and to diligently strengthen your own mind without the constant, distracting noise of the external world. Some of you are currently holding on tightly to people who are no longer genuinely aligned with where you're ultimately going in life. You're desperately trying to bring everyone with you on your journey, tenaciously trying to hold on to friendships that no longer inspire or uplift you, and fruitlessly trying to fit into social circles that you've clearly already outgrown. In doing so, you are inadvertently, yet significantly, slowing yourself down. You are unconsciously dimming your own brilliant light just to make others around you feel more comfortable. You are effectively shrinking yourself to try to fit into spaces that were never truly meant for you. And that, my friends, is a very dangerous and detrimental way to live. Because the longer you stay unnecessarily attached to what no longer genuinely serves your growth, the more you tragically delay the incredible life you are truly meant to build. Not everyone will understand your unique journey of growth. Some people will undoubtedly think you've changed, and they're absolutely right. You have changed. You're not the same person you were a year ago, 6 months ago, or even just a week ago, and that's precisely how it should be. You are growing, you are evolving, you are becoming the remarkable person you were always destined to be. But the ones who do not yet understand the profound nature of growth, the ones who are perfectly comfortable staying exactly the same, will likely not celebrate your evolution. They might question it, they might criticize it. They might even try to make you feel guilty for courageously moving forward while they choose to remain stuck. But let me tell you this with unwavering conviction: you do not owe anyone an explanation. For your personal growth, you do not need anyone's permission to evolve. And you certainly do not need to apologize for choosing yourself and your own. Well, there will undoubtedly be times when you feel undeniably lonely. When you look around and suddenly realize that the people you used to consistently depend on, the ones who used to be an integral part of your daily life, are simply no longer there. And in those poignant moments, you might understandably wonder if you've made the right decision. But let me gently remind you, loneliness in this context is not a punishment. It is often a period of profound preparation. It is a season that intentionally forces you to rely more deeply on yourself, to trust your own intuition, and to diligently build yourself up from within, so that when the right people eventually do come into your life, you will be fully ready for them. You will be strong enough to confidently stand on your own 2 feet. You will be whole enough to give to others, not from a place of emptiness or neediness, but from a place of genuine abundance and strength. Because the right people, the ones who truly and authentically align with your future self, will not be threatened by your growth. They will not try to hold you back. They will not discourage you from evolving. Instead, they will actively push you forward. They will consistently inspire you, and they will eagerly match your positive energy, your driving ambition, and your growth-oriented mindset. And until you consciously make adequate space for those kinds of empowering people, until you courageously remove yourself from environments that consistently drain your energy, until you stop desperately trying to fit into places you've clearly outgrown, you likely will not find them. Some of you are perhaps afraid to walk alone, primarily because you don't fully trust yourselves yet. You don't yet trust that you inherently possess what it takes to make it without the constant validation, the unwavering support, or the perpetual presence of others. But let me assure you, everything you truly need to succeed is already residing powerfully within you. You don't need a crowd to confirm your immense potential. You don't need external approval to courageously step into your divine purpose. What you genuinely need is the sheer courage to be unapologetically different, the profound strength to willingly stand alone when necessary, and the unwavering discipline to keep persistently moving forward even when absolutely no one is clapping for you. Growth inherently requires periods of solitude. It demands intense focus. It necessitates the intentional removal of distractions, not just physical ones, but mental and emotional ones as well. It requires being incredibly intentional about who and what you choose to give your precious energy to. And most importantly, it requires deeply understanding that not everyone is meant to continue with you on this entire lifelong journey. And that, my friends, is not a loss. It is often a necessary and divine shift, a crucial realignment, a clear sign that you are courageously stepping into a brand new, more expansive season of your life, one that is invariably filled with greater clarity, purpose, and the presence of the right people. So, if you currently find yourself walking alone, if you find yourself naturally losing certain people as you continue to grow and evolve, please do not be discouraged. Do not foolishly shrink yourself just to try to fit back into spaces you've clearly already outgrown. Do not intentionally slow down your incredible progress just to try to match the pace of those who are not yet ready or willing to move forward. With you, keep going, keep growing, keep evolving, because the higher you choose to climb, the more you will profoundly realize that true solitude is not mere loneliness. It is, in fact, divine elevation. There inevitably comes a point in everyone's life when you simply have to stop constantly explaining yourself. Stop perpetually justifying your actions, and stop desperately seeking external approval for every single move you make. Because the unvarnished truth is, no matter what you do, no matter how much good you sincerely try to bring into the world, there will always be people who simply don't understand you. There will always be those who unfairly question your intentions, harshly criticize your choices, and actively try to pull you back into the outdated version of yourself they were once comfortable with. But you absolutely cannot live your precious life based on the fleeting and often misguided opinions of others. You cannot allow their limited, narrow perspective to ultimately shape your unique and grand destiny. You have to learn to courageously move forward without constantly needing their understanding or approval. Far too many people, unfortunately, waste an inordinate amount of their valuable time desperately trying to prove themselves to others. They get caught up in endlessly defending their decisions, painstakingly explaining why they've changed, why they've chosen a different path, or why they no longer comfortably fit into the restrictive mold that others had previously created for them. And in doing so, they inevitably exhaust themselves. They needlessly give precious energy to battles that simply don't need to be fought. They become easily distracted and heavily weighed down by opinions that were never meant to define them in the first place. But let me tell you something with unwavering certainty. You do not owe anyone on this planet an explanation for your personal growth. You do not need anyone's permission to evolve. And you certainly do not need to seek validation from people who were never truly meant to understand your unique and sacred journey. There will always be those who question your choices, not necessarily because they genuinely care about your well-being, but often because your personal growth makes them feel profoundly uncomfortable. Your ambition inadvertently reminds them of their own unfortunate complacency. Your unwavering discipline often exposes their own glaring lack of it. And instead of being genuinely inspired by your progress, instead of using your positive example as motivation for their own lives, they often subconsciously try to bring you back down to where they are. But you absolutely cannot let that negatively affect you. You cannot afford to dim your own brilliant light just to make others around you feel more comfortable in their own shadows. You cannot shrink yourself to try to fit the limited expectations of those who stubbornly refuse to grow themselves. Think about how much precious time you've likely already spent anxiously worrying about what other people think of you. Consider how much vital energy you've already given to painstakingly explaining your choices, tirelessly defending your actions, and desperately trying to make others see things from your unique perspective. And then ask yourself honestly, has any of that effort ever truly changed anything for the better? Has it ever genuinely brought you lasting peace? Or has it only left you feeling emotionally drained, deeply frustrated, and hopelessly stuck in a perpetual cycle of seeking external approval that will likely never fully come? The liberating truth is, the people who truly and genuinely support you, the ones who sincerely care about your personal growth and well-being, will not constantly demand an explanation from you. They will not incessantly question your decisions. They will wholeheartedly respect your journey, even if they don't always fully understand every aspect of it. And the ones who consistently demand an explanation for your every move, well, they were likely never meant to be an integral part of your next exciting chapter anyway. When you finally learn to focus intently on yourself, when you start making crucial decisions based on your own internal vision and values instead of solely on what others expect from you, you will inevitably notice something truly remarkable. The external noise begins to fade away. The insatiable need for constant approval gradually disappears. The immense pressure to conform to societal norms loses its oppressive grip on your soul, because you finally realize that the only person you truly need to answer to is yourself. The only validation that genuinely matters is the validation that comes from within. The only explanation that truly holds any weight is the one you give to yourself when you honestly look in the mirror and ask, am I consistently becoming the very best version of the person I was always meant to be? Some people will undoubtedly say, you've changed, and they're absolutely right. You have changed. You're not the same person you were a year ago. You're not even the same person you were yesterday. And that's precisely how it should be. Growth, by its very definition, is all about transformation. It's about consistently becoming better, stronger, wiser. And if that means naturally losing some people along the way, if that means inevitably outgrowing old, comfortable circles, old limiting habits, and old, outdated mindsets, then so be it. You are not put on this earth to remain stagnant and unchanging. You are meant to continuously evolve, to learn, and to grow. The strongest, most resilient people are invariably the ones who have learned to strategically and powerfully move in silence. They don't foolishly waste their precious time constantly explaining themselves to others. They don't desperately seek external approval for their choices. They don't engage in fruitless arguments with those who misunderstand or misjudge them. They simply, quietly, and consistently focus on the necessary work, on their unique mission, on the divine purpose that passionately drives them forward. And when their tangible results finally speak for themselves, when their undeniable success becomes glaringly obvious to all, there is absolutely nothing left to explain. So, I implore you today, stop desperately trying to prove yourself to others. Stop anxiously looking for external validation. Stop tirelessly defending your choices to people who were never truly meant to understand your unique vision. Instead, move forward boldly. Move forward without hesitation. Because when you no longer seek external approval, when you no longer feel the compelling need to constantly explain yourself to everyone, That is precisely when you truly become, and remain, powerfully unstoppable. Conclusion: in essence, the path to profound personal achievement and deep inner peace lies in diligently focusing on yourself, working with unwavering dedication in strategic silence, and fiercely protecting your precious energy from the myriad of distractions and the often need for external approval. Courageously embrace the solitude that genuine growth so often requires, and deeply understand that your unique journey is precisely that, yours. It needs no elaborate explanation to those who do not, or perhaps cannot, support your ongoing evolution. Let your consistent actions be your most powerful statement, and let your tangible results be your most resounding applause. Choose this often underestimated path of quiet strength, unwavering self-belief, and steadfast determination, and then watch in awe as you progressively unlock your true, God-given potential. Remember, always your greatest power resides peacefully within, not in the often chaotic noise that surrounds you on the outside. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to watch our next videos.